Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
We had plenty of opportunities in the second half. We got, we scored a touchdown with Thielen, and we get called on a, some kind of call, stops the touchdown. Then we get 2 turnovers, and we sack them on 4th down. And I don't know if did we get any points out of those 3 points. Yeah, we got to find a way to do better than that.
I love that. That's the mindset that he was in when Greg Joseph makes the 54-yard field goal. Like that mindset right there, and that sort of sullen demeanor is how Mike Zimmer was feeling as the game-winning field goal goes through the uprights, and all of a sudden, in his face,
you like that? You like
he's got Kirk punching him in the chest and grabbing him like, yes, yes. And Mike's like, what are we doing? What's happening?
You're assaulting me, Kirk. You like that? You like this huge victory against the Lions?
Oh, my God. Have you ever seen more? Like, I watch Dateline. I watch 2020, like murder mysteries. Judd watches Law & Order. Have you seen more detective work than the work done by Vikings fans on the internet watching that video clip over and over from different angles, trying to figure out, are they fighting?
Well, it was...
Is Kirk more excited? What is happening?
Because it was so weird that it's almost like it had to be done, right? Because you looked at it. I mean, it does. There's no other way to explain it, but it's incredibly awkward, and it certainly doesn't look like 2 guys who are as happy as Kirk was. And so
no.
I get why the investigation was done, but... at the end of the day, were they about to come to blows? No, absolutely not.
I think for a minute, I think Mike Zimmer went fight or flight for like a half second. He's like, "Oh my God, is Kirk attacking me? What is happening right now?"
Okay, I'm going to give you something here.
We should reenact it, Judd.
But I'm going to give you. I'm going to throw you guys a bone here and sort of go after myself a bit because next month I'm 52, so I'm getting older. I feel like when you do that, when you grab a person who's older and do that, it's not the same as when you grab a teammate.
But you're saying like cardiac arrest is on the table?
No. I'm saying Mike's reaction to me is very much a person above 50. The reaction, like if you were.
So if I grabbed you,
yes, and
don't
if you
touch me,
and Mike Kirk puts his fist in the middle of Mike's chest. And Mike is clearly shocked. Like Mike is all in on, are we winning? Did we win? Did we win? And Kirk goes like, boom. I feel like if you're 50 or above, a lot of times, it's not like you're a cornerback, right? Yeah. Where you're like, yeah, dude, we won. I'm 23. You're 30. Let's go drink.
That's exactly what he said, actually, if you read his lips.
I'm
33 and you're
I'm 33.
67.
I'm getting older myself. I'm just saying, I feel like when you're above 50, being grabbed and sort of accosted like that and not expecting it does result in the reaction that Kirk got.
I think Declan and I just kind of have to take your word for it. I think.
Mm-hmm. So all right. So I'm going to go in between shows.
Yeah, but you got to do it. You got to surprise me.
But if I punched you in the chest, I don't think much would happen. If you punched me in the chest, would be sent.
But I'm saying, it's not that
away.
you would. It's not that you would even necessarily hurt me that much. It's that I would be surprised, and I feel like the older you get, the less that you want a sudden surprise like that.
Also, to add to this, because I've probably watched this clip about 100 times. Just there's the Fox angle because it's at first you're like, wait, are they fighting? And then you quickly realize, no, they're not fighting. There's a couple guys, like security guys. One guy was smiling and got what was happening. But the guy behind Zimmer at first was like, do I need to hold Mike back? Are they?
And I can tell you in talking to some people post game, the Vikings were like, that was the problem. When the guy grabbed him, it made it look worse.
Because he thought Kirk was the guy behind Zimmer thought Kirk was attacking Mike Zimmer.
But the guy behind the guy who held Mike back when Mike really didn't need to be held back made it look like there was about to be a confrontation and Mike was being restrained.
And like Pat P kind of I couldn't tell if Pat P was like just putting his arms up to celebrate with Coach Zimmer or if he was like, there is another element to this of Pat P. And I want, so in All Things Covered in his podcast, I want him to also explain what the hell happened. I know he's going to be asked about it.
I think he
probably will be.
But he'll just say, oh, man, we were just happy. And I was, the best part, though, was, so a guy holds Mike, Pat P, like Deck said, and then have you seen the guy in the background of, I think it was the second Fox shot?
Yeah,
I don't
the guy
know,
on the side.
who's got the hat on, who's like looking like
big smile guy.
Oh my! No. There's big smile guy, and then there's another guy who's got a hat on, and it looks like an inactive player. But anyway, he's looking like, oh my God, what's going on? Are they about to throw down? Like he has the look of whoa.
My final sort of if I'm doing the investigative reporting here, I think my final police report on this would be Kirk and Mike are standing next to each other, and they're both processing the moment very differently, right? Mike, leading up to the kick, is probably thinking about, oh my God, am I going to get fired tonight? Like, if he doesn't make this kick, how bad is this for me? And he's running through, like, how did this happen? Oh my God, I can't believe we're, like the entire drive, he's probably thinking, what happened? He's processing it that way. Kirk just got off the field having thrown 3 passes, boom, 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 field goal range. And Kirk's thinking to himself, hell yeah. This is my fourth quarter comeback with the Vikings. If this thing goes through, we're celebrating, baby. I'm giving my trademark. You like that? Let's sell some T-shirts. And so the kick goes through, and Kirk is like 10 out of 10 ready to rock and celebrate a game-winning drive and a victory stolen from the jaws of defeat. And Mike is coming from the mindset of, for the last 5 minutes of real time, probably thinking, do I need to start putting my resume out there? Am I going to get fired tonight? Are they going to wait till tomorrow? What just happened? Right? And he wasn't fully cognizant of what was happening. There's the clip. Declan just played it. And there, Mike finally, he's like, yeah, okay, fire it. Yeah, okay.
But the guy who grabs him is like, oh my God, they're about to throw down.
Yeah. It's so good, dude.
The thing, too, is it also, to delve down deeper, it also shows us how completely out of touch Kirk can be, because Mike's like, we're about to barely beat Detroit. And now Mike was not asked about this because I think the footage surfaced after his press conference, but Mike acknowledged during his press conference that he doesn't even watch the field goals because he's like, I can't watch this. I can't. So
Kirk's grabbing him and he's not even totally sure that the ball went in yet.
Yes. And Mike is probably Hail Mary, full of grace. And Kirk's and Kirk, but Kirk being Kirk, and this is where he's so awkward is, I think Kirk considers a win against the Saints in the playoffs and that piece of garbage that we saw on Sunday to probably be the same thing. We won. We won.
His reaction is the same, yeah.
Let's all be happy. And Mike's like, dear God, did you watch that game, Kirk? So you're right. It's a great sort of illustration, not of a fight about to begin, but about how different two people can possibly be. And I gotta say, I probably side with Zim a bit here because it was, oh my God, you barely pulled that game out. And the way that you almost blew it was legendary. We'd be talking about this for a few years.
Well, and actually, good segue here. I'll lead you guys off with the first statement here. Statements on a Monday on Mackey and Judd. Let Kirk celebrate. That's my first statement.
Okay.
I'm fine with Kirk celebrating. You know what? Because Kirk deserved a fourth quarter comeback against the Bengals. He deserved a fourth quarter comeback against, I guess one of these would have been, which one was the overtime game? The Bengals was overtime.
Yeah.
So it would have been fourth quarter overtime.
He got him closer than this.
Yes. So this was bottled up. Kirk should have 3 fourth quarter comebacks this season, if not for a fumble that may not have been a fumble and a kick and defense, right? And so this was pent up party time, just ready to celebrate. It's been built up for 5 weeks, I guess, is what I'm saying. Yeah. And as out of place as that celebration felt after that game, where it's where is the bar here? What are the standards for, that felt
like the street, by the way.
There's been times where the Gopher football team in the past under Glenn Mason would celebrate a win over an FCS school with a game-winning, they beat NDSU one time with a game-winning field goal or something. It's you guys are a Power 5. Why are we? What are we doing? Just I think that was one of those go shake hands. That was a very ugly and business-like win at the end. Did what you had to do. It didn't feel good, and Kirk was celebrating like it was a trip to the Super Bowl. Which again, did he really need to celebrate in that moment like that? Probably not. But I'm saying I give him a pass. Let Kirk celebrate.
It's actually funny, too, because our friend Tom Pelissero literally just tweeted 60 seconds ago with this quote of the video saying, Kirk Cousins doing exactly what Mike Zimmer wants him to do. Play and celebrate with fire. Quote, you like that. That's from Tommy Pelissero.
There it is.
You like that?
Let him
You
celebrate.
like that?
Except against the Lions.
Yeah.
Except against maybe Detroit when you almost
know
lost.
what? Have some awareness. How about that?
My guy.
That would be the nice thing. Can Kirk have some awareness? Can he have just a little bit? I mean,
What do
I
you want?
don't
The
want to
guy-
give him a ton.
The
I just wanna give
guy
him a little bit of
led
awareness.
the Vikings down the field. Dart, dart, dart.
Yeah. Except a Super Bowl quarterback looks at that game and says, okay, we won. We're lucky. We got a lot of work. Not, oh my God, I led a game-winning drive against the Lions. Can you imagine, like, Brady? Oh my, did you see what I did against the Lions?
Yeah, I think Brady, having been there, done that on the grandest stage, a half dozen times. More than that, actually.
But I'm saying
he probably
it's
just a
wiring.
little fist pump. And,
It's wiring, my man. It's wiring. Are you wired right or are you not? That's the key to me. All right. Statement from me. The Detroit Football Lions are God's gift to the NFC North. The Vikings have now won 8 consecutive games against Detroit, which, of course, goes, to Patricia and now Campbell, and heck, might go back to Jim Caldwell. I'm not sure. And the Vikings are now, get this, in their history, 79, 39, and 2 all time against Detroit, which even though Detroit scored, the 2-point conversion to go up by a point with 37 seconds left, you knew that was one game where I did not doubt they're going to move the ball. Like last week against Cleveland, I said, they are not going to score here. In this case, I said, it's the Lions. I bet they can score. And they did. God's gift to the division and football.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel bad, and I'm sure we'll get into some of the Dan Campbell stuff, but like, God, the Lions, they come crawling back. There were some breaks. They got that fumble recovery. But like when Dan Campbell said we're going for 2, and they hit the 2-point conversion, there were a lot of Vikings fans that were rooting for the Lions, just saying, all right, just finish us. Let's just get on with it. Go fire Mike Zimmer. It's a very conflicting game in that once it started to go sideways late in the fourth, a lot of fans, and we had a guy call in on Vetline yesterday who was an usher at the game, and he was telling us from the actual game, people were rooting against the Vikings, not because they hate their favorite team, but because one step back to take 2 steps forward. So, yeah, I mean, what should have happened was a 30-7 victory that you roll. And then when things started to go the other way, it's like, all right, would it be the end of the world if they just moved on with the Mike Zimmer era after this? And now it's just weird because now they're 2-3 and they have a chance to get back to 500 going into the bye. All right, Declan.
All right, my first statement. It's who do you want to be, Klint Kubiak? Who the hell do you want to be? Do you want to be this new offensive coordinator that's gonna take this offense to the next level? Or do you want to be conservative? I did some digging last night. NFLGSSIS.com. I think that's what it is. NFLGSIS. It's a nice statistical website.
It's
also did
great site.
Some diving on the Reddit page. Last night, or yesterday, I should say, the Vikings rushed on 2nd and long on 7 occasions.
How are you defining that? 8, 9 yards?
2nd and 7 or longer.
Oh, God.
So on those each of those runs resulted in an Alexander Madison rush for 4 yards, Madison rushed for 5 yards, Madison loss of 2 yards, Madison rushed for 1 yard, Alexander Madison rushed for 3 yards, a C.J. Ham rush for 1 yard on 2nd and 8, and then another rush for 1 yard. Now, all these plays also 2nd and long or 3rd and long, too. There was one 3rd and long, I'm including it in the 7 plays that happened yesterday. Mm-hmm. At the same time, the Vikings offense had 8 plays of 15-plus yards yesterday. 7 of them were, guess what? By passing the football. 2 of them came on the final drive when Kirk Cousins was cooking and put the team in position to win the game.
The only 2 catches of the game by Adam Thielen.
Exactly.
That was it.
And the problem is the biggest play yesterday of in terms of yards gained was a run by Alexander Madison of 48 yards, but on first down, on 1st and 10. I don't understand this archaic thinking of running on 2nd and long when you have this offense that's basically ready to go. It's too damn good to be running on second and long to just set up an easy third and manageable. So that's my opening statement. Klint Kubiak, who do you want to be?
So for the season, the Vikings have the second most runs on second down and long. They've run the ball 26 times on 2nd and 8 or longer this season. The only team that's done it more often is Chicago. And Chicago is trying to protect a rookie quarterback and Andy Dalton, basically, from getting accosted by opposing
And
defenses.
their coach isn't very good at calling plays.
Yeah. But but the Vikings coach clearly isn't.
No,
either.
no,
Kubiak
right. But I'm saying
Mike
we're putting
Zimmer
them
oversees,
we're putting them in sort of the dumpster of play calling.
So it's the second most. So you could say they are the second most conservative team on second and long. And by the way, on those second and especially like the 2nd and 13s, or there was a 2nd and 17 in there. When you run the ball in that situation, you're waving the white flag on the drive. You're guaranteeing a 3rd and long. It's just such weird. Actually, good segue. It's 2021, and the Vikings offense. So 2021, more innovation than we've seen in our lives watching the NFL. And the Vikings offense is so conservative in 2021 that a mid-90s fullback, Moose Johnston on the broadcast, thinks your offense is too conservative. It's just like when you've got Daryl Moose Johnston, who's like punt on 4th and 1 guy and pound the rock guy, right? This is the way I remember football back in the mid-1990s. And even he's like 4 different times in the second half.
Emmitt Smith's lead blocker.
Yes.
Like, if anybody believes in pounding the rock, it's the Moose.
And 4 different times in the second half, he's like, what are they do? Just throw it to Jefferson. It doesn't make any sense. Why are they on the Alex Madison direct snap that got stuffed? He's like, I don't really understand why the Vikings are doing that. Just hand it to him or throw it to Justin Jefferson, So why are you running the clock out at the end of the first half with 2 timeouts and 40 seconds?
Did you see Mike's comments about that? Mike's comments about that were incredibly telling and actually take us behind the curtain, I think, of our frustration and the disconnect between the fan base, modern football, and Mike himself. So Mike was asked quite a few questions about, rightfully so, the offense. And by the time we got to this question, he starts off by saying, I don't think I should have to explain this to you, which is like, yeah, you should. That's the whole point of the press conference. And by the way, you got booed.
But
right, but I mean, that shouldn't be your default. But anyway, when he did explain it, he said, and this is how, I mean, this confirms the Vikings play scared. He said, at the end of the half this year, we've had some screw-ups, haven't we? Guys going out of bounds, guys doing the wrong thing.
So
and he said,
fear.
And he said, what we were going to do was run once and see where that got us, as if you were mad, and then decide what the second down and final play was going to be. So this basically confirms everything that we're speculating on.
I think actually I have the clip that Judd's talking about. This is Mike Zimmer, I believe, on that exact topic.
With the series before halftime, was it just a matter of wanting to run the clock out there because you were getting the ball back?
Well, I shouldn't have to explain all this to you, but the plan was if we've screwed up a couple plays in the end of the first half this year, right? Because we ran out of bounds, we did some things. So the plan was to run the ball the first play, see how much yards we get, and then go from there. If we get a first down, then we get on the ball and we move. But we got like no yards, so that was that.
Of course you didn't get yards.
And are you going to get run the ball on first down? You're going to
if people are watching, this is great.
You're going to assume you're going to get
look
10
at Mackey.
or 15 yards?
Mackey looks like he just saw something awful.
I can't do this. I have I have yet to officially demand that Mike Zimmer be fired, and I don't think I'm going to do like a grandiose thing. It's not really what I don't like to do that. But that comment disqualifies him from being a Super Bowl winning coach. If you're coaching from a place of fear at the end of halves, you can't win you cannot win a Super Bowl. Go watch the best teams. Go watch the Buffalo Bills last night. the Chiefs have some major defensive issues right now, but offensively, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Packers, the Chargers right now. Look at these teams. Look at how aggressive they are always, but especially in the last 2 to 4 minutes of halves. And you're coming out saying, well, we made a couple mistakes a couple games ago, and so we got to go into a conservative shell and just make sure that we're guarding against, as Jim Polad would say, guarding against misfortune. Dude, flush it. You almost have to be like a major league closer. I gave up a bomb last night, so I'm just going to kind of nibble on the out. Dude, no, throw a fastball over the plate. Like, for as big of a game as Mike Zimmer talks, right? He's such a tough guy. I shouldn't have to explain this to you. I'm a Bill Parcells, no nonsense tough guy. He is one of the most cowardly coaches in the NFL when it comes to late half. Dude, put your foot on the gas. It's the Lions, bro. What are you doing?
And you've got, whether you like him or not, you've got a quarterback that's among the highest paid against the cap in the entire league. You've got Justin Jefferson, who's on a huge. I also saw a quote today. So this is where Kirk and Mike dovetail, and it drives me crazy because it doesn't fit today's game. Kirk gave a quote that basically said, well, they were doubling Justin and clouding him quite a bit, and so that he said there were calls. First option, Jefferson, hand off to Madison, because they were clouding Justin, and at times not at times. There were a lot of times that he wasn't an option, is what he said. He wasn't an option,
dude. Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you saw it. The Lions are actually the first team in NFL history to adjust at halftime and put cloud or bracket coverage or over-the-top safety help on a receiver. And it's tough because when a defense decides to do that, it's checkmate. You can't throw to that player anymore. Yeah.
But these two guys, but
I don't expect Justin. Now here's the problem. Now the tape's out on how you guard Justin Jefferson, so I don't even see him getting any targets going forward because teams are just gonna, they're gonna put a second guy on him.
But
so
Mike
I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do. What do you want us to do? Hand
Mike
off.
and Kirk, for as different as they are like the same guy when it comes to the conservative nature of how to play football. Like somebody has to say. The quarterback or coach has to say, we're ripping the Band-Aid off. You're playing Detroit. Justin Jefferson's on a 5-catch, 104-yard first half. He's not out of the game. And by the way, he was also very well covered on that first big pass play down the sideline where he made a great catch. And Kirk put just enough air beneath the ball. And now you're telling me, that play's done?
Yeah.
Can you imagine Randy Moss's reaction to being told, oh, you're out of the game, Randy. Sorry, dude.
Dude, it's infuriating to hear that quote. It is. It's almost like, how do you overcome that level of conservative thinking and expect to win a Super Bowl, contend, go deep in the playoffs? You're going to beat the Buccaneers. You're going to beat Pat Mahomes. You're going to beat the Buffalo Bills. I mean, like, those are the teams. The Green Bay Packers. You're gonna beat those teams by giving away a possession at the end of the first half with 2 timeouts and 4 out of bounds a couple weeks ago. We fumbled that one time.
That's it.
Who cares? I don't get over the fear of making a mistake. You guys have permission to throw some picks. You can throw some interceptions. You can fumble once in a while. Just stay aggressive because the top end of it's going to result in more points, better possessions, etc. They're so afraid.
It's as if when opponents defensively show the Vikings a too deep look, the Vikings are like, and Kirk and Klint and Mike are like, well, passing's done for the day.
Yeah. Dude.
We're not going down the field now. Too deep. From the Detroit Lions. Too deep.
I don't know. Judd,
Who's up?
Yeah, I'm next.
Like smoke outside my window right now. Too. I can't
Yeah,
tell if it's my shade.
I saw you
upset
looking
I've ever
outside.
seen
Is your
show.
house burning down? Is something going on there?
I just want to make sure my house isn't on fire. Hold on 1 second.
Because the fire
had some
alarm,
fire alarm
at US Bank
situations.
Stadium first quarter went off. What I loved was, in very Declan Goff-like fashion, they shut her
right
off.
back.
And I did say, okay.
Yeah.
And Declan, I did say, I'm sitting by Courtney and Collar, and I said, do not stop this game.
No.
Like, I was very Goff-like. I said, do not stop. Because at first, it was after a play.
I thought when I
And it
heard
sounded
on
like game ops.
And when I heard it on TV, I heard, they got a new siren thing
Yep,
going. I've
that's
been to the
what I
games.
thought.
Like
Yep.
I was like, oh, that's new. I was like, that's a new interesting thing. And I almost even tweeted like, oh, they're playing sirens now at US Bank Stadium. No, that was a legitimate fire
And then
alarm.
we heard the announcement, right? Evacuate the building. I'm like, don't stop the football game.
I had the same thing happen in my apartment 2 Fridays ago. I said, nope. We are not moving. I'm not moving from this bed. No chance I'm moving. 0 chance. I will be burnt to the ground before that happens.
Phil, update?
You all right?
The house is not on fire, but
Good.
Okay.
If you ever think you might have an issue with fire prevention, Federated Insurance is here to help you as a business owner.
It's a long way to go for the sale. I like it.
Sorry.
I admire this.
Just ran up 3 flights of steps. Federated is all about making sure that your company is protected against risks, including fires, your employees, your bottom line. Find out more about the work Federated does for over 100 years at federatedinsurance.com. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours.
All right. Statement 2 from me. The Vikings' failure to start and play first-round pick Christian Darrisaw more at left tackle was idiotic. If Christian Darrisaw can start, Christian Darrisaw needs to play. And this rotation that they decided with Rashad Hill was ridiculous. And let me tell you why I think it's folly that the Vikings are going to fall back on. This is a good plan. Anthony Barr started for the first time since week 2 of 2020 yesterday and did not miss a snap. Okay? Which is fine. If he is set to play, he should play too. But the fact of the matter is, you're telling me that you are going to ease Christian Darrisaw, your first-round pick, who, by the way, should have started if he hadn't been hurt day one. You're going to ease him in and let him learn behind the tutelage of Rashad Hill? Like, that's really the plan here? Rashad Hill was put back in the game early in the second half yesterday and immediately got trucked. Christian Darrisaw, if he can play him. Rashad Hill's a backup.
Yeah, I think
what are you doing?
once they put Darrisaw in the game, I don't really understand this rotation. Like, their plan was to rotate those guys and mix them in. I get it. He hasn't. He didn't play any preseason. He didn't play. He didn't practice. So I get like, wow, maybe we should just give him 28 snaps instead of 60 snaps. And all right. So now that we've got that out of the way, he should just be your starting left tackle for every snap this weekend against Carolina, right? Mm-hmm. There's no reason. Darrisaw, 28 snaps, 0 pressures allowed, according to Pro Football Focus.
Nice.
His pass blocking grade was still pretty weak, so he got pushed around a little bit, but none that resulted in an official pressure.
Yep.
Rashad Hill had 2 pressures allowed. One was a sack, another one was a hurry, and the sack was bad. Well, actually, maybe it was the hurry that was bad, or the hit. One of them, he literally just got shoved on his back, and
the
then
sack.
He
got shoved down
in
a sack. You're correct.
So, all right. Declan.
Yeah, I'll go another one here. But it's more Dan Campbell and Detroit Lions inspired. My statement is continue to go for the throat. Dan Campbell's decision to go for 2 points and go for the win yesterday, I thought was amazing. Now, I don't want to be a Zach Taylor and going for 4th downs when you're like pinned deep in your own territory and it's not a Madden game, so there isn't really anything that's up for grabs necessarily or things that could really shipwreck your season. But the idea and mindset of going for 2 and going for the win, I love that. The Lions are 0-4, right? So they have nothing to really lose in this. So they did make the decision to go for 2 points and go for the win, not kick the extra point. Mike Zimmer kicks the extra point 8 out of 7 days a week in that situation. He never goes for 2, even if the Vikings were 0-4. Yeah. Like, I love the decision and mindset by Dan Campbell to go for 2 points, and I want other teams to have that mindset instead of playing for the ties. Then you go to overtime, and more kickers miss field goals, just like in the Bengals and Packers games. Dan Campbell's decision to go for 2 points, I love it. Continue to do that, NFL. Let's start getting more in the mindset of going for wins. I love it.
What did you guys think when you saw Dan Campbell crying, wiping away tears at his post-game press conference?
You think you like football? Well, Dan Campbell doesn't just like football. He f***ing loves football.
No, you just... When you see your players give all that they have and you lose that way, it's tough. You don't want that for them.
Oh my God.
I think it's. Oh
my God.
It strikes me as very sincere, but dude, it's a long season. You play a ton of games, and I know it's tough, but this ain't college. I wouldn't be crying.
Him and Urban Meyer
That's too much for
both
me.
shedding tears.
But if I'm a player for him, I know that there's a lot of people who are going to say, well, the players will try harder now because he cried for them and stuff. I don't really want my coach crying. Like, if we lose a Super Bowl, I'll consider that one. Or let's say we lose in a brutal playoff game.
Okay, Tom Hanks.
But I don't want my coach crying after I go to 0-5. Don't cry.
I think it's awesome, man.
Pull it together.
I think more of Dan Campbell. I think more of Dan Campbell going for 2 and then crying after the game than I did 24 hours ago. I think higher of Dan Campbell now than I did 24 hours ago.
Yeah, but the problem with that
is... He's still Dan Campbell.
But he's so... But the word that you use, Phil, is perfect. Higher. He's high. He's low. He's high. He's low. He wants to bite kneecaps off. Now he's going to cry. I need more consistency. I think he's always just high. I think he's just always wired. Passion. I like passion, but it's your 5th loss against the Vikings. And by the way, hell of a comeback. So anyway, I'm not crying in that situation.
I think you got outvoted. Declan and I are both
no, you guys
okay
win.
with
I'm just telling
tears.
you, I'm making my tears are fine, man. Gonna make my case.
Gotta have yourself a cry sometimes.
Tears are fine, but you know what? 2 things that we learned, guys, on Sunday from Sports Dad here. One is celebrate according to the situation, not what you think the situation should be. And 2 is hold the tears for when it really matters.
Okay, weekend. We'll save your tears for another day. Yeah, got it. But
when does it really matter ever for the Lions? Like, when has it mattered?
Well, that's the thing is, you should never cry. The Detroit Lions coach should never cry.
Just be
it never really matters.
An emotionless robot.
No, you just go in and say, hey, hell of a comeback, right? How about that Jared Goff?
Sorry, we can't all be as stoic emotionally as Judd.
I am a very emotional person, but know the situation. That's not the situation to cry, and Kirk should not have punched his coach in the chest about a win that they barely eked out, okay? We learned lessons. Sports Dad here. We've learned lessons.
Kirk's hilarious, man. Just he almost put Mike Zimmer into cardiac arrest.
Yes.
All right.
You like that?
Perhaps some bonus statements later, but let's get to our guy number 1. Speaking of riding the roller coaster of emotions, I am curious to see where our guy Randy in Cottage Grove falls.